Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you guys are new here, my name is Krystal. So today I'm going to be talking about the Natasha Denona Gold palette. Some people love it, some people hate it. I'm just going to give you my opinions about it, whether I think it's worth the money or not. And at the end of this video, I'm also going to do a tutorial on this eye look that I'm wearing today. Yeah, let's just jump right into the review and swatches of this palette. So when I first saw this palette, I was like, ooh, it looks pretty, but I don't know, because I'm very particular about gold eyeshadows, gold highlighters. So I like gold, but I don't like when especially highlighters. I don't like when highlighters are too yellow gold. I just don't feel like they suit my skin tone very well. And the same with eyeshadows. I don't like when they pull too yellow gold on me. I like a champagne gold, like a bronzy gold, a greenish gold. So I was very hesitant to buy this. I just debated about it for quite some time. And then I finally pulled the trigger. When I bought this one, I also bought the Safari palette because that one is all mattes. And I was like, you know, I think I need it. So I pulled the trigger on both palettes, and this is what all the colors in the palette look like. I'm sure you guys know because I'm sure you have seen this. Oh, and as far as the packaging goes, I mean, I like that it's all gold on the outside. Some people think the packaging's cheap, but I think that it's kind of styrofoamy inside. That way it protects the shadows. Like if you wanted to travel with this, or if you're a makeup artist and you drop this, I just feel like the shadows would be protected. If it was in a hard case like the Safari palette, let me show you. So this is the Safari palette. This is like hard plastic. If you drop this, all your shadows are gonna shatter. But in this particular palette, I feel like they're really cushioned inside this like foam material right here, which people say is like cheap for being such an expensive palette. But you know what? It's not always about the packaging, it's about the quality of the shadows. And for me personally, I like that this feels like it won't break or shatter if I dropped it. So I just think it would be good for makeup artists, or like if you're traveling with it. I just think your eyeshadows are protected. It's just a magnetic closure. There's two little magnets here and it closes. Now the only thing I would say is for the price of the palette, I don't like this little insert. It is attached, you can unattach it. Just kind of rip it right off and throw it out, but I wish the shadow names were at the bottom. I don't know if that's possible with this particular like foamy material that they use, so maybe they can't do it with this particular material, but I do wish the names were listed under the shadows and not in this flimsy thing that gets in the way. You do get the mirror in here, which I actually do use. I have a lot of fingerprints all over mine. So I've used this palette quite a bit, and this palette is $129. It's a lot, it is expensive. You are getting 15 eyeshadows for $129. Now, that's a lot of money, it really is. But if you break it down per eyeshadow, each eyeshadow is $8.60, which is not that expensive because there are a lot of high-end eyeshadows that cost like 20 something dollars. So if you break it down, they're only $8.60 each. So my thing with these palettes is if you think you're gonna like the majority of the colors, and I mean the majority, not just half, but like the majority of the colors, I think it's worth the money, and if you like the formula, obviously. Now with this particular palette, there are different formulas. Okay, so what it says on Sephora.com is it says that you get 15 brand new eyeshadow shades in the classic signature Natasha Denona formula, including matte, metallic, sparkling, and duochrome shades. You have to buy this palette knowing in your mind that the formula is different on some of the shadows. For instance, this white shade right here, this is more of an eye topper, or the one they call sparkling. So it doesn't have a lot of base color. I use this on my inner corner, and it's more of like an eyeshadow topper. It really is. Like you can see the microfine shimmers in it, but there's not a lot of color to it. No base color, just a bunch of little shimmers, which some people may not like. So you just have to go in knowing that. And with a lot of these shimmery shades, I think they apply best with your finger versus a brush. Yeah, when I bought this, I had a little bit of a hesitation because like this color looked, I don't know, it looks kind of yellow, this one and this one right here, as well as this one over here. So these 4 shades I was a little iffy with. The rest of them I was like, you know, those look pretty. These matte ones here look kind of similar, but honestly, they're pretty different. Like when you put them on the eye, I feel like I use this one in the crease, and then I use this one, like these two look like they're kind of similar, but when I start putting this in the crease, it is darker, so you can gradually build up the shades by layering these colors, which I like. So I do feel like they're different enough to be in one palette, but you may look at this and think, oh my God, those shades look too similar, which, you know, for some people, they may not like that. Back to my point, my hesitation was these like colors right here. So when I got it in person, I was like, okay, I'm gonna like this color. I already know, like, it looks more like an antique gold color. What do they call this? Brass, like a brass, they called it a brass. And then this one right here is like a duochrome, has that green tinge to it, which I really like. This one over here is kind of like a bronzy gold, which I don't mind at all. The only shade that I am not like head over heels for is honestly this middle shade. This one's a little bit too yellowy gold for me. So I can still make it work, don't get me wrong. I can layer it with some of the other shades, but it's just a little more like yellowy orange than I like a gold to be. So I kind of knew that going into the palette though, that one of these or more than one of these shades I may not like. But overall, I really like this palette. I've used it several times. I've used it, gosh, for the last several weeks off and on. And this is the second time I recreated this look. I love this look so much. That's why I had to recreate it for you guys. So I personally think after using this so many times, this palette is definitely worth the money in my opinion, for my liking, what I like, and how many times I've used it so far. I just think these are very wearable shades. You have two pops of color here, like these teals are really pretty. And then there's just these very unique, like shimmery colors that I really like to pop on the lid. I think they're so fun and different and like so sparkly. Like I'm using this one on the lid today. Look how sparkly it looks. It almost looks like I have glitter on my lids, which I really, really like. So yeah, I think it's worth the money. Some people don't. Some people say you get a lot of fallout with this. I personally don't get a lot of fallout, but I do use the shimmers with my finger. You will see in the video that I did apply a couple of the shimmers with the brush first, but then when I went in with this color especially, this one's more chunky, like a pressed pigment. This one I think applies much better with your finger. If you pick it up with a brush, it's very chunky, but when you pick it up with your finger, it picks up really well. And then you just kind of have to press it into your eyelid and it's beautiful. So I think it's worth the money. If you guys have tried this palette and don't think it's worth the money or do think it's worth the money, let us know what you guys think down below. We would all love to know your opinions. You know, we're all so different, love different things, have different needs, different skin. So I love this. I love this. I think it's worth the money. So I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys swatches and then we'll get into the tutorial. All right, so first I'm gonna go into Lime Chrome. This one's so pretty because it has that green duochrome to it. This one right here is called Python. It's like this really beautiful teal. It almost seems like it's a matte when you swatch it, but I would say it has kind of like a satiny finish. This one is Sparkle, which is more of an eye topper. You can see it has no base color, it's just very shimmery. This is Aria, a nice beautiful matte for the crease. I mean, the mattes are intensely pigmented. I love the mattes. And the metallics. This one is Cava. So Cava is also one of those like sparkling shades. Doesn't have a lot of base color. You can see like the shimmers are like a bronzy color. But there's not a lot of base color underneath the sparkle. This one is Aurora. So this color right here, like when you swatch it, there's not a lot of, like it's very thin in consistency and it's a little more sheer than expected when you look at the pan, but I don't mind that at all. That would be really pretty paired over this teal one. This one is Dijon, like Dijon mustard. So one is a matte. Look how beautiful that is. And then this one right here in the middle, this is my least favorite, like I told you guys, just because it's a little too orangey yellow in my opinion, just for my skin tone. So that one is called Oro. But look how metallic that is. It's super intense. So this one right here is called Log. It's a nice deep brown. And that one is a matte shade. This one's Varis. I'm not sure, I'm probably mispronouncing that. That one's like a chocolatey bronze, really pretty. It has like a I would say that one's a metallic finish, but it's not as like vibrant as that metallic finish. And then this one is brass. This is the one I have all over my lid. It is absolutely stunning. Like I said, this one has more of a chunky texture. It definitely applies way better with your finger than it will with the brush. That one's a metallic. It is beautiful. It has a duochrome to it. It's gorgeous. It's almost like a gold with a little bit of green in it as well. Not quite like this one though. This one's more duochrome, I would say, but this one still has like a hint of green to it. This is a matte color. It's called Sand. I mean, look at those mattes. They're just so good. This is called Alchemist right here. Metallic shade. Look how beautiful that looks. This one right here is called Teak. This is a matte brown. I forgot to swatch it on camera. Here, just extend it out a little bit. See, like these two look very similar, but I don't know, I like them. And then this last shade right here is called Arum. I'm probably butchering that name as well. There's just only one spot left here on my arm before it hits my bracelet, so let me swatch that. Ugh. This is hurting my back, swatching these like this. So that one's a metallic too, but not as intense like as this one or this one up here. So those are all the shades. All right guys, so those were the swatches and my opinions on the Natasha Denona Gold palette. I really like this palette. I personally think it's worth the money. Now I'll just leave that up to you because we're all so different. We have different opinions, different likes, different wants, different needs. So I love it. I'm glad I purchased it. I will definitely keep using it. I just think it's a very wearable palette, which is why I like it. Like I feel like I can go to this daily and also have a little glam with some of the metallic shades. They're just so beautiful. So now let's go ahead and get into the makeup tutorial for the eye look that I'm wearing today. So the first shade that I'm gonna take is called Aria, and I'm just blending that into the crease. And I took a large crease brush from Royal in Langnickel. It's from their Omnia line. Now I'm gonna take the color Teak, and I'm using a crease brush from the Omnia collection. It's a little bit smaller than the previous one. I'm going to take this brown shimmery shade right here. It's called Veris, and I'm taking a small shader brush from the Omnia collection. I'm going to pack this color right on the outer portion of the lid. The next shade I'm going to take is right here called Alchemist, and I'm going to use the same brush for that. I'm going to put this right next to that bronze shade. And I don't want to bring it all the way in because I am going to add one more of the shimmers. I'm actually going to take that shade with my finger, because if you apply these shadows with your finger, you're going to get the best color payoff with the shimmers. Now I'm going to go into the shade Brass right here, which is one of my favorite ones from the palette. And I'm going to use my finger. I'm going to pop that shade right in the inner corner, inner lid here. Now I'm switching to a brush and just going over that with the brush a little bit. This color's like a pressed pigment. It's more like chunky in texture, especially if you try to pick it up with a brush. So I feel like it's best to do it with your finger first, and then you can go in with the brush and blend it out. But you want to just kind of press it into the skin at first. Bring that a little farther inward. just kind of towards the middle of the lid. Now I'm going to take the shade right here called Log. I'm going to take an Omnia medium crease brush. So I'm just going to blend that right on the outer corner again, just to deepen that up a little bit. I'm going to take this bluish teal shade called Python, and I'm just going to take a little eyeliner brush. This one's from BDELLIUM Tools. It's the 710 eyeliner brush, and I'm just going to run this on the upper lash line. This is what I did the first time I did this look, and I really liked it. This is the first time I'm using this brush. I think it's working out really well. It's kind of stiff, which is good, especially when I'm using a shadow as an eyeliner. And I think it would also be good for a gel, but I haven't used it for that. I'm gonna wing it out a tiny hair. Just barely. So I was watching a YouTuber who didn't think this palette was worth the money, and they said they got a lot of fallout. I personally don't really get a lot of fallout with this palette, especially when you use some of the shimmery ones with your finger, because they're chunky in texture, some of them. So I feel like it's best just to use them with your finger and not with the brush. Otherwise you probably would get fallout. So I'm just taking a clean brush and blending the upper portion of the lid here, the crease area, just because everything's looking a little bit unblended or harsh. Then I'm going to go back in through the crease, and I'm going to take that first shade we used just very lightly, just to kind of build that back up a little bit. I'm going to take the IT Cosmetics Superhero Mascara. I'm just going to take my Laura Mercier powder, and I'm going to use that under my brow bone as a brow bone highlight. Not as even as a highlight, just to help kind of set the concealer that I use to sculpt out my brows, and also to blend the crease shadows a little bit. Before I finish my eyes, I'm going to move on to my face makeup. So I'm going to take this Hourglass Nude Bronze Light. It's a lighting bronzer. And I'm going to take the Omnia contour brush. Now I'm going to take the Laura Mercier blush in Chai. I'm taking a Omnia highlighter brush that I like to use for blush. I'm going to keep the lower lash line very simple. I don't want to smoke it out. I just kind of like the eyes like this with a minimal face, like not too much going on. So I'm just going to take maybe these two matte shades that we had used, and I'm just going to pop those on the lower lash line using this little Wet n Wild P10 brush. So I'm going to take a fluffier brush and just blend that out. This one is from Real Techniques. I think it was limited edition. I actually now see these at TJ Maxx. So now I'm going to take a highlighter. This is from Note Cosmetics, and I've been meaning to mention this in a video forever. I thought I had mentioned it, and then I was going like through some of my videos, and I was like, never mentioned it. So it is the Terracotta Powder in Stardust. They have several different shades. This one is the lightest. If you're any lighter than I am, this will definitely be too dark as a highlighter. Maybe it would make a beautiful, like, kind of light dusting powder all over the face to give it a little bit of a glow. This is just like a gorgeous powder. It's borderline, like if it was any darker, it'd be too dark for me as a highlight. But it's so pretty. See that? I bought this at Ulta a long time ago. I've been more curious to try more products from this brand. I know I got a blush from them in one of my BoxyCharms, which I really like the blush. And then I had bought this. I have a lip gloss from them that I got free with a purchase. And it came with like an eyeshadow and a lipstick. But I like this lip gloss. I think it's nice. It's in the shade Hydra Color Lip Gloss, Truffle Nude. Maybe I'll put a nude lip liner and then put that on top. No, I think this is good. So this is the L'Oreal Color Riche Matte Lip Pencil. And what shade is this? Mastermind, but like Mastermind. I mean, it's matte, but it's like super like glidey, which I like. I love this color. Even though it glided right on, I feel like it's drying down a little bit more matte, which I think it's gonna help it stick. I mean, I've used this before, but maybe I'm just now noticing it. I haven't used it a whole lot. So I like that. And then I'm just gonna go in with this gloss. It's the Note Cosmetics Hydra Color Lip Gloss in Truffle Nude number 3. Yeah, I like this gloss. It's nice. It's a nice gloss. To highlight the inner corners, I'm gonna take this shade right here. This is more of an eyeshadow topper. Doesn't have a whole lot of base color, and it's called Sparks. I'm just gonna take a little bit with my brush, pop that right there. All right, guys, so this is the completed look. All right, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. I love you guys. Have an amazing day. Bye.